briefly, if you will join me in the scripture that was read for you today. Paul's letter to the church at Ephesus. In Ephesians, the 4th chapter, verse number 24. Ephesians in the 4th chapter, verse number 24. I'm going to reread out of the King James Version, but in my time of study, I was so moved by what God was saying that I looked at several translations and then considered, amen, the context of the text that we are looking at today. When you have it, let me hear you say amen. Amen. The book of Ephesians in the 4th chapter, verse number 29, a writer Paul writes these words to the believers. He said, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace." Everybody say grace. Grace. That it may minister grace unto the hearers. May God add a blessing to the reading and hearing of this anointed word. And may I today have the courage to teach that the people of God say amen. Amen. If I could for a few moments this afternoon, I want to teach and share from the theme, the thought, the topic, the power of words. I want to talk about today, and I want to come from the subject by way of teaching today. I want to teach and instruct from the theme, the thought, the topic, the powers of words. Turn to somebody, look at them and say, beloved. Beloved. Come on, say it like you mean. Say, beloved. Beloved. Be careful. Be careful. What you say. What you say has power. Has power. Turn to somebody else and look at them and say, beloved. Beloved. Be careful. Be careful. What you say. What you say has power. Has power. Somebody give God a praise. The story is told about a young boy who one day was playing Brother Joe with his sister. And Sister Darlene, just like siblings normally will do, at one point in time they're playing together happily. I wish somebody started praying for me. At one point in time, they will be playing together very happily, only to find out that a few moments later, that one is angry at the other. Am I talking to anybody? This story says, Elder, that the brother became angry with his sister, and as most siblings would do, certainly many of us either have done or might have a propensity to do, Sister Cynthia, the young man said to his sister, "Shut up." Told his sister, Mother Harry, to shut up. His mother was in the other room, and I have to believe that, according to what I read in the story, I have to believe, Mother Harry, that she was an old school mother. Because when she heard her son tell her daughter to shut up, she immediately came in the room and asked her son, "What did you just say?" I wish somebody was playing with me today. And the mother asked the son to repeat what he said to his sister. Out of reluctancy, and certainly the knowledge of what would come after, the son was not willing to repeat. I wasn't The son was not willing, Audrey, to repeat what he said. The mother instructed the son, I'm going someplace. The mother instructed the son to meet her in the bathroom. I wish somebody help me. When he arrived in the bathroom, his mother reached into the soap dish to pull out a bar of soap and began to wash his mouth. I wish somebody told me that with soap. Angrily, the boy allowed his mother to wash his mouth out. And after rinsing his mouth out, his mother told him, now go to your room. Are you hearing me today? I believe God is speaking to us today. And God is wanting us to be mindful, Elder, of what we say and to whom we say it to. Are you praying with me today? I want you to understand today that when we consider the power of words and what we might say, Deacon Staggs, one to the other, that there is a battle of the mouth which starts in your heart. Though the battle is raged in your mouth, the true battle starts in your heart. The answer is that when the boy said shut up to his sister, it was a mean statement that he made to her. Though most may consider it harmless and might just reduce it to children being children, God would have us to know today that the greatest amount of damage happens at the youngest of age. Is anybody praying with me? Beloved, there was no affections and no goodwill and no kindness in the words that were said. Matter of fact, they can be categorized as simply ugly words. There was no moral beauty, no holiness, and certainly there was no love found in the words spoken by the boy. To use Paul's phrase in Ephesians 4:29, it was according to the Lexham English Bible, another version that I looked at. And in that Bible, it said that the words were rotten. Everybody say rotten. Rotten. That in the King James, it said, let no corrupt communication. In this Lexham English Bible, it said, let no rotten word come out of your mouth. Wow. In other words, the writer was saying that it came from a garbage pile. And not just an average garbage pile, but one that was filled with pride and one-upmanship, anger, and even resentment. Which most people, again, would say might be normal between siblings. Beloved, beware lest you grow accustomed to sin. And God forbid that it ever will become normal in your life. Come on, Bishop. I believe today that we have become sparrow, that we have desensitized ourselves. Wow. Even in the presence of sin itself. That we have normalized sin, baby. Wow. And we have learned how to cohabitate and coexist with sin in the house. I wish somebody helped me today. In the end of the battle for purity in the mouth, it is fought first and foremost in the heart. Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
It's in the book. Yes, that's the word. Yes. That's it.
If you don't like what comes out of your mouth, I want you to listen carefully this morning.
Amen.
Because the Apostle Paul is at pains in this text to clean up our mouths from the inside out.
All right. Come on, Bishop. Help us out.
See, the work that Paul is desiring to do through our text today, Brother Jeff, is not to work on the outside. We have done a good job of dressing up and polishing and grooming the outside. I wish somebody talked back to me.
Go ahead,
But today I don't want to deal with the outside. I don't want to deal with the inside.
That's right.
Turn to somebody and tell them we're going to deal with the inside. We can look wonderful on the outside. We can look successful on the outside. We can look right on the outside. But today I want to take a journey inward. I want to deal with the inside.
Amen. Help us, Bishop.
Let's look at verse number 29. I said a moment ago that Paul used the phrase rotten word in one version. RSV translated, let no evil talk come out of your mouth.
That's right.
The NIV and the NASB use the words unwholesome. And again, we know that the King James says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. What is the ideal behind the words evil, or unwholesome, or even corrupt? The Greek word for this is sapros.
Yes.
Sapros is used in only one other context in the New Testament, namely in Matthew and Luke, where Jesus says, it is not the good tree that bears bad fruit. In Luke 6:43. And in Matthew 7:17, and again in Matthew 12:33. The term for bad fruit here is the same word for evil or unwholesome or even corrupt in Ephesians 4:29. Let no evil talk come out of your mouth.
Yes.
The image in Paul's mind is probably one of rottenness or decay, something that has spoiled and now it stinks.
My God.
We ought to be sensitive. Deacon Staggs, our noses, our spiritual noses ought to be sensitive to something that doesn't smell right.
Amen. Amen. Yes. That's good.
I want you to know that though we may have normalized it, even though we have decided that we can live with it, I want you to know that not only does it smell bad in the nostrils of God, but there's also a bad taste in his mouth. I'm going someplace. This kind of rotten language must be taken off like the old garment.
All right.
It is part of the old self. Everybody say old self.
Old self.
It is part of the old self that was talked about in verse number 22 of this text that needs to be stripped away when a person becomes a Christian.
Yes, that's right.
Beloved, the garment of having a rotten mouth must be taken off and thrown into the fire. Just like Ephesians. The folks at Ephesians had burned their old books in Acts 19:19. So must we, Elder Williams, we must encourage, teach, instruct, and yet even hold accountable the people for their conversations, even in the faintness of discussion. You see, I liken it, Gloria, to working in the workplace. And if you are a believer and all of a sudden, in the traditional sense of it, they're around the water cooler telling dirty jokes. I wish somebody talk back to me. You're in the workplace, and so you're a believer, you're a Christian, but they're telling dirty jokes. And just because you want to get along and be along, all of a sudden you decide to laugh with the laugh.
Oh, that's good.
Somebody talk to me. So many times we don't want to rock the boat. Sometimes we want to marginalize the offense and the effect of the offense by just getting along to be along. There comes a time in which your yay has to be yay and your nay has to be nay.
That's right.
And my mother used to say it this way. She said, son, wrong is wrong and ain't never going to be right. The apostle does not merely include in this expression obscure discourse of every kind, but also, watch this, all flattery, clamoring, railing, boasting. Of course, we don't have any boastful folks here. Tale-bearing, backbiting. Everybody said, commendations of vice and impurity. Profane gestures on religion. Its ministers and professionals, trifling conversation. Let me say that again. Trifling conversation. And indeed, all discourse that is not either about necessary kingdom business or, as the next clause expresses, it's not good to use if you're going to edify somebody.
Amen.
Calculated to instruct, direct, reprove, encourage, excite to duty, comfort, or in some way edify and minister in grace to the hearer. These are the things that we should be doing.
Amen.
Our words ought to inspire somebody. Our words ought to encourage somebody. Our words ought to incite someone to do that which is good and right in the face and the presence of God, not to cause them, because how many of us know misery loves God?
Yes.
I read a book and I went and looked it back up. I dug and found it. It's not a very big book, small book, almost pamphlet in nature, but it is entitled 10 Powerful Phrases for Positive People. Write that down. 10 Powerful Phrases for Positive People. It's written by a man by the name of Rich, R-I-C-H. Last name is DeVos, D-E, capital V-O-S, Rich DeVos. 10 powerful phrases for positive people. Today I want to deal with 4 phrases. There were 4 things. Today was my remaining time, and I want to talk again from the power of words.
Right.
And we need to understand, David, that our words, that they either carry death or they carry life.
Amen.
Would you be clear about that?
Yeah.
The book was written in order to pass along phrases to others. Powerful phrases for positive people. To show people how to be positive and encouraging in their lives.
Yes. Yes.
He motivates the reader with simple but life-changing practical lessons rooted in his real life experiences. DeVos summarizes the value of these phrases in his introduction. And I quote, although people seem to need to vent and grumble at times, they are drawn to the positive and will follow those who blaze a positive trail.
Yeah.
Finding fault is easy and a natural instinct.
That's right.
Maybe it's because we're taught to be skeptical.
Right.
Beloved, we know that if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is.
Yes.
A positive attitude is a choice. Somebody tell me, you got a choice. A positive attitude is a choice. Like walking to the other side of the street to avoid trouble. Or making a 180-degree turn when you feel you're headed in the wrong direction. Turn somebody, tell them, it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Once you decide to make that choice, being positive becomes a habit. Making the first move to be positive is a trait of great leaders. A simple line spoken in the right spot, in the right way, can change a person's life. It's just practical truth today. In regard to our need to focus on the good and the positive, DeVos in his book cites Philippians 4, 8 and 9 as a very important to his perspective. Write that down. Philippians 4, 8 and 9. Read it when you get home. Philippians 4, 8 and 9. The Bible records these words in Matthew 15 and 10. Follow along with it. In Matthew 15 and 10, Matthew writes these words. He said, and he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand. Not that which goeth into the mouth defieth the man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth the man.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Now, I am a proponent, I want to be clear about this, I am a proponent of making sure that you're careful what you digest.
Amen.
Turn to somebody and say, you can't eat everything.
You can eat everything.
And you can't eat from everybody.
Come on, Bishop. Real talk. Real talk.
And so I am a proponent that you can't just go around, Sister Terry, eating everything. But what I've come to learn in studying the Word of God and researching and getting a clearer understanding, a deeper understanding, that when it comes to the matters of the heart, it's not just what you put in you, but it's how it comes back out of you. Am I talking to anybody?
Right.
In Proverbs 18 and 20, I'm going to move pretty close, pretty quick here. Matthew 18, verse 20 and 21. Write it down. Proverbs 18, 20 and 21. It says, a man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruits of his mouth. And with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. And then this is where it got deep. It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. See, I don't believe, I want to come in the face of a flat out lie. People say what they mean.
Amen. Yes.
So you can hold that. Well, I didn't mean to say that. That's a lie. Don't compound wrong by them turning around and lying about your wrong. I didn't mean it. Yes, you did. Because the only way simply it could have came out is it was on the inside. This is not hard. This is not difficult. I want to deal with the one-on-one. I want to deal with the basic stuff. Stop lying and say, I didn't mean to say. You did mean to say. Nobody made you say it. Nobody gave you a script to read. And I said this in the context of another discussion. We were talking And I want to say thank you again to Deacon LeGrand, Brother Kenny, so Scott, I want to say thank you because you're right. We had a wonderful time of fellowship around the grill yesterday, and they were so gracious to keep as much rain as they could off of me while I was grilling the food for everybody to enjoy. We had a wonderful time of fellowship. And if you missed it, we missed you.
Amen.
But here's what I want you to understand. Clear, I said this in our conversation yesterday, and I want you to understand this truth. There are atheists. An atheist is someone who not only does not believe in God, but has no intention of ever believing in God. Simply, there are atheists. Watch this. There are atheists who believe in this simple principle. And as soon as it starts coming out of my mouth, you're going to finish it. LaTanya, atheists believe two wrongs. I wish somebody told me to right. Folks who ain't never going to believe in God. Folks who ain't never going to even utter the word Jesus, Marie.
Come on, Bishop.
These same people are bound by the truth, walk under the cloak, are covered by the reality that two wrongs.
That's why I love my church.
In other words, it don't make a difference what you do.
That's right. Come on, Bishop.
It don't matter how you treat me, don't matter what you say, don't matter how you let me down, doesn't matter the lies you, it does not. Somebody say it don't matter.
It don't matter.
Come on, shout it don't matter.
It don't matter.
It does not matter. I don't need that thing. Come on. It does not matter. Listen. It does not matter.
Yes.
It does not matter.
Because I still have a choice.
That's right, Bishop.
I wish somebody talked
That's
to me.
it. That's
I'm going to use this thing. I want.
Go ahead.
Listen, I want you. It does not matter what somebody does to you.
it. Yes.
God is going to ask you
Yes.
how you respond. I want somebody to talk to me. The Bible declares that love covers a multitude of sins. See, love is a weapon of mass destruction. It don't matter how you come at me, Joe, I can tear down everything. I can cancel everything you throw to me. Every wall you put up, I can tear it down. Yeah, I don't care how long it takes. I know the wall is coming down because all I got to do is love the hell out of you. May not happen in a week, may not happen in a month, may take a year.
That's it. Right there.
But if I do it God's way,
That's
because
it.
how many of us know it took that long for us?
Amen.
Turn to somebody, give them a high five and say it took that long for me. Write this down. Write this down. Write this down. And I'm going to deal with the four things quickly. Write this down. Homework. This homework. Write this down. I want you to go home and I want you to read the book of James. I want you to read in the book of James in the 3rd chapter. And I want you to read and I want you to pray and I want you to meditate. This week I want you to meditate verses 1 through 10.
All right.
James in the 3rd chapter. James in the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 10. I'm not going to deal with it. I want you to go home and be responsible, be accountable to do this for yourself. Invest in yourself. James the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 10. Four things. Come on, Rick, let's do it. Four things I want to deal with. Number one, we're talking about power phrases. Power phrases, phrases that can change lives. I want to deal with 4 of them. The time they're so simple, they stupid. But somebody talk to me. But they work. Number one, everybody say number one. Everybody shout, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Number one, I'm sorry. One of the most powerful and underrated, one of the most underutilized, one of the most underappreciated phrases in the English language is I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it has the ability, if we use it, Jeff, it has the ability to take my truth and render it powerless.
Yes.
Because here's what I was saying on Wednesday night, we're talking about spiritual warfare, and I want to repeat that. The devil is not making up lies against us.
Amen.
What the devil is doing is taking our individual truths and he's twisting and perverting them so that now he can use them against us for our demise. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Turn to somebody and say, he ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
And so, but here's what happens. Is when the enemy, who is the accuser, remember we talked about that Wednesday night? We said he is the accuser of the brother. So when the enemy accuses me of my truth, I have the ability, Joan, to render that truth powerless by simply saying what? I'm sorry. By saying what? I'm sorry. Everybody say what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because once I have owned and said I'm sorry, which means you're right. Once I say that I'm sorry, if you choose to continue to persecute me, then you are now operating out of the will of God.
Amen. Yeah, that's it.
Amen by myself.
Amen.
Look at the screen. In 1 John 1 and 9, you see these words. It said, if we confess our sins, who is faithful? He is. Who is faithful? He is. So in other words, what you do to me don't matter. Right. You can continue to beat me up, it don't matter. Right. You can continue to drag me through the mud, it don't matter. Right. You can continue to not talk to me, don't matter. Because once I say, I'm sorry, everybody, I'm sorry. Once I say I'm sorry, now it's between you and God.
Right. Amen. That's it. Amen. Amen. That's it.
If you don't believe me, look at the scripture.
Amen.
Look at the scripture. It says, if I, make it personal. Everybody say, if I confess my sins, he, who is he? God. Who is he? God is faithful and just to forgive me of my sins. Watch this. And to cleanse me from all unrighteousness. Once I declare I'm sorry, I now have released and I don't ever have to see it again. So if you go find it.
Amen.
Amen.
Come on.
If you go dig it up, if you go find it and bring it back and lay it down in front of me, then you are not doing the will of our Father.
Amen.
Number 2. We're going to move quick. Number 2. Talking about powerful phrases. Powerful phrases. The second powerful phrase is forgive me. So after I say I'm sorry, then the request is forgive me. Many people do not understand, again, the power of forgiveness.
Yes.
The phrase forgive me, Mother Harriet, does 2 things. It releases me, as we know in point number 1, it releases me from the unrighteousness or the unjust thing that I just committed. But it also, forgive me, also empowers me so that when now I am assaulted, when somebody makes a mistake against me, see, you have to understand, every work of God in your life is to prepare you for the next assignment.
Amen. Amen.
What are you saying, Bishop? I'm saying, Jeff, you can't be restored without God using you then to restore somebody else.
Amen.
So forgive me, God, not only releases me from what I did, but it now puts me on assignment so that when someone needs to ask me for forgiveness, then what comes to life is what the Apostle Paul said. Paul said, watch this, he said, we have been reconciled through Christ Jesus. Therefore, we have been
Reconciliation.
of reconciliation.
Amen.
Write the scripture down. You say it on the screen. James 5:16. And when I looked at these at first, Ellen, I said, well, they're saying the same thing. But then God said, no, don't you make that mistake. He said, don't you make that mistake. I said, well, God said the same thing. He said, oh, no. Don't make that mistake. He said, don't make that mistake. And so in the first scripture in 1 John 1:9, it says, if we confess our sin. In this portion of text, James is telling us, why is it? It says, confess your faults. One to another. Are you seeing it? And then it says, pray what? One for another. That ye may be what? That the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Now, Brother Johnson, what he said was, he said, confess your fault. Before we were talking about the sin. Now, Marie, we're talking about our fault. Which may lead me to sin. See, how many of us know there's two natures inside of us? Amen. If you don't believe me, let's ask the Apostle Paul. Paul said the stuff that I should do, I don't do. Amen. And the stuff that I should not do, is this resonating with anybody? So there's two natures warring Audrey inside of me at all times. Amen. And so not only do I have to talk about my sin, but I also need to be able to deal with my fault.
Well preached.
Because how many of us know that all of us are still a work in progress? And I don't care how much you love God, I don't care how effective elder you are in ministry, I don't care how many people praise you and glorify you, how many people say wonderful things about you. All of us got something going on in our lives. Turn to somebody, look at the point and say, you too. All of us got something going on in our lives. I don't care what your title, position is, how long you've been with God, been with the church, all of that, none of that matters. All of us got some area of our life where God is working on us. Somebody shout, I'm under construction. Amen. Turn to somebody, look at them and say, excuse the mess. I'm under construction. Come on, somebody. Are you hearing me? Number three.
What?
Powerful phrases.
Thank you.
All right.
Powerful phrases.
Oh, thanks.
When it comes to powerful phrases, one of my favorite powerful phrases is simply, thank you.
Amen.
Again, Jordan, very underutilized. Again, Brother Johnson, very unappreciated. But thank you is such a powerful phrase that we can use in order, and watch this, the phrase, Mother Harriet, thank you, doesn't empower me. See, now the tables are turning. Watch this. The tables are now turning, Terry, so that I don't need the empowerment, but Melanie, the words thank you, have the ability to empower somebody else.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Because again, how many of us in the room today are human?
Amen.
And so what happens is, because of our human nature, Sister Terry, if I go long enough without hearing thank you, I wish somebody talk back to me. Only because I'm human.
Amen.
Because I'm human, if I go without hearing thank you long enough, then my bank account would get depleted.
Yes.
I wish I was talking to you. See, let me educate you. All of us have an emotional bank account.
Amen. Yes, we do.
All of us, Brother David, all of us have an emotional bank account that periodically naturally we need a deposit into that bank account.
Yeah.
I wish I had about 7 people.
Amen.
Glory to all of us have an emotional bank account. And we can say, so let me just, the conversation. Well, you don't need no pat on the back. You don't need no stroke. Nobody need to stroke you. Here you go. It ain't about somebody calling your name. You don't need to say, yeah. And I've said all of that too. But the reality is all of us in here are human.
Amen.
And so, just for the purpose of the day, to keep it real, all of us have an emotional bank account that we need to deposit into every now and then. And simply, if I don't get a deposit into my account on a regular enough basis, then my account will get depleted.
Yes, it
And so when somebody pushes my button, and you know how you go to the ATM, and it says NFS? You go and you push the button, and it comes back NSF. You don't want that to happen in the emotional realm. Because the message that comes back, Deacon Staggs, NSF means something very different.
That's right.
I wish it said. Come on. And so, Jeff, we need a deposit every now and then in order for our accounts not to get depleted.
Amen.
Look at this, whisper, we only got more. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, look at what it says. It says, in everything give what?
Thanks.
In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. He wants us to utilize this. We are to exhort one another on a regular basis, encourage one another on a regular basis, empower one another on a regular basis. And this is, now, Brother Jeff, it's not about me, it's about encouraging and appreciating and thanking God for somebody else.
Amen.
And we need to learn how to do this with the simplest of things. Somebody call you on the phone and says, listen, brother, I was just thinking about you. Just wanted to reach out and say hello. Just say thank you. You ain't got to go into, Lord just been dealing with me. Can we just be real today? It's not that type of call. Simply, I just called because I love you and I was just thinking about giving you a call and say hello. So you ain't got to go into defending why you haven't been, and that's between you and God. Take time to say thank you. Appreciate somebody for thinking about you. Somebody do something for you. Yesterday at the picnic, if you said that, if somebody bought you a water or somebody bought you a soda or something, take time to say thank you. No, it don't mean it don't cost nothing. Are you hearing me? Let's go home. Number 4. Let's go. Number 4. This for me, and again, everybody has their whatever. But for me, this is the most powerful of all.
Ooh, that's a good one there, Bishop.
For me, this is, Deacon Staggs, this is the most powerful of them all.
That's it right there.
And again, everybody has their place of resolve. But I wanted to end with this, because this, I believe, is the most powerful of them all. The most powerful phrase in the English language today, the most powerful phrase is simply, I love you.
That's it right there.
We're living in a time in which folks don't even love themselves.
Show you right.
Because the truths of their lives, the facts of their lives, the circumstances of their life have left them broken and bamboozled and bewildered.
Yes.
But thanks be to God that these simple words, this phrase, can save anybody from anything at any time. Are you hearing me? Simply by expressing to someone, and I'm not talking about just flinging them around like they don't mean anything, but I'm talking about out of conviction and under the umbrella of relationship with something. And again, I can tell a brother that I love him, and it don't have to mean anything, but I love my brother.
Yeah, that's it.
It don't have to be taken out of context.
That's right, Bishop.
But it just simply means that God is pleased, Brother Jeff.
Yes.
And he said, oh, how good and pleasant it
Yes.
is for brothers to walk together in unity.
Yes.
And love is the thing that binds us together.
Yes.
I've said this, that if I say something,
Amen.
and if it didn't feel good, and if it didn't sound good, don't just stand on those words.
Amen.
Sift through the words. And
Amen.
get on the backside of what was said and see if
Amen.
there's still some love back there.
Amen. Amen.
And hear what I'm saying. Because again, we have to admit, glory, we're all human.
Amen.
And so maybe it didn't come out right. And I'm not being contradictory to what I said. Don't say I didn't mean to say that. I'm not saying say that. But what I'm saying is that I got caught up in the heat of the moment. I was feeling the pain of what was going on. And so something rose up inside of me because I do have, somebody say, I do have two natures. And because I have two natures, something rose up in the moment. But thanks be to God that what overcomes that, Sister Terry, is the love of Christ.
Every time.
The Bible declares this, before I get to the last scripture, the Bible declares, Brother Jeff, that while we were yet sinners, that Christ died for us. Thanks be to God that he didn't wait for me to make a decision. That he chose me before I chose him. That he decided on me before I decided on him. And while I was yet living in sin, while I was yet committed to sin, he said, I love you even though you committed to sin. Are you hearing me? Look at the screen, look at it. In 1 John 3:18, you see it down the screen. It says, my little children, let us not love in what? Word. In what? Word. Everybody, what? Word. Let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. And hereby we know that we are of the truth and shall assure our hearts before him. Listen, you can talk about I love you all you want. But if those words come out of your mouth and if your actions don't align with your words,
All right, come on.
then your words are hollow.
Yes.
And I'm not saying, Mother Johnson, again, I want to continue to caveat this, but acknowledging the fact that all of us have a human nature. I'm not saying that I'm going to get it right all the time.
Amen.
But what I cannot do, Jordan, I cannot be consistent in harming you. I cannot be consistent in doing wrong.
Amen.
Beware of those who are always negative.
Amen.
Be aware of those who always have negative things coming out of their mouth. Something's wrong with somebody who every word that comes out of their mouth is negative. Something's wrong if Tammy, somebody's conversation is always critical of everybody and everything. Let me remind you that it says that the power of death are in the tongue. And if that's all that you're spewing forth, is you're spewing forth death. But if you are a son or daughter, if you're a child of God, if you're a fellow citizen, watch this. It says that, listen, we have the authority to speak those things. We have the authority. Even though I don't see it in you, Jeff, I can still speak. Even though you're not doing it right now, I can speak. Even though the choice that you made was contrary, I can still speak. Turn to somebody and say, ain't nothing but a word. Two last scriptures, write them down. St. John 6:63. St. John 6 and 63. I'm going to end on these two scriptures. That it is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profited nothing. And Jesus speaking here, and he said, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. There's life in your words.
Amen.
Turn to somebody and tell them, choose your words carefully. Last scripture, let's go home, Kim. Deuteronomy 30 and 19. God spoke to his people. Jehovah spoke to his people in the Old Testament. In the book of Deuteronomy, in the 30th chapter, verse 19, he said these words. He said, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Cynthia, God is still pleading with us today. He's still pleading with the Church of the Living God. He's still pleading with you today. Pastor, every message is not going to make folks run hours and turn cartwheels. But we've got to speak the truth of God's word. And sometimes the message doesn't make us popular, but we're not here by popular demand. Sometimes we got to take a good hard look at who we are and where we are. Sometimes, Jeff, we just got to hear. I said that this morning in Sunday school, and we have to hear, John, that God was very intentional that on this day, that this lesson would come to pass, because he's trying to get us a message. And the message is not for my sister, it's not for my brother, the message is for me first. And I have to be able to ask myself the question, Jeff, how was my conversation been lately? I got to stop and ask myself, what have I been talking about lately? Or maybe the more active question is, who have I been talking about lately? One of the most amazing things that I find, and I'm going to be very intentional of being personal. And again, son, I want to speak to you because this journey is not easy. I'm not going to start you out thinking that it is. One of the most amazing things to me, Mother, is how people are run away.
Come on.
People are run away. People leave. People are here one day and gone the next. And it is amazing since, and I'm going to be transparent in it, for whatever it's worth. It's amazing how many of those occurrences show up at my door. Somehow, simply, I'm involved with it. I'm the reason why. I'm the answer to why people are leaving or not staying. But I'm going to expose the devil today.
All right, come on, Bishop.
Because it is sheep that beget sheep.
That's right. It's in the book.
And all you got to do is check your conversation.
All right.
All you got to do is check what you're talking about.
All right.
And more accurately, you ought to check who you're talking about.
All right. All right. All right.
Because the Bible declares that the power of death and life, Marie, is in the tongue. And here's what I want you to understand. They don't have to be in your presence to be affected by what you're saying about them. See, this is a spiritual battle.
Yes.
And everybody needs to hear it. I want everybody to hear this.
Amen. Help us, Bishop.
Minister Melanie, if we allow negative talk in our presence, we're guilty. If we participate even in the most casual conversation that does not speak well of somebody, that puts somebody down, that labels somebody, that separates somebody, we're guilty.
Yeah.
And today we're going to take a good hard look at ourselves. Because, Jack, if we're going to see God's glory manifest not only in this house, but if we're going to be, as we talked about earlier, the instruments, we talked about what does it mean to be consecrated. If we're going to be those instruments that are prepared for the master's use, then we got to get it right in the house first before we get it out there. This is the reality that we need to look at each other. We need to take a hard look at ourselves and say, what's coming out of my mouth? Am I allowing my brother to be killed by somebody else's words? Am I allowing the enemy to divide and separate my sister by somebody else's words? Or was I bold enough to stand up and say, that's my brother? Was I bold enough to say, that's my sister? Was I bold enough to say, if you'll kill her, you'll kill me?